This is Upping Your Game, the podcast where experts share strategies to help you, your team, or your organization thrive in today's fast-paced and ever-changing world. I'm Stephen Krempl, your host. Today we have Ira Greenberg. Ira is a trailblazing artist and educator whose unique fusion of studio arts and computer science has redefined creative computation. As the director of the Center for Creative Computation at SMU, he bridges the gap between technology and art, inspiring students to push creative boundaries. With an eclectic career as an animator, designer, programmer, and author, including writing the first major reference on the processing programming language, Ira's work has left a profound mark on both the arts and tech worlds. Ira, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stephen. Happy to be here.
Well, here's a great question for you, Ira. You have a unique background, but what makes your program unique?
Our graduate program in creative technology is really an extension of an undergraduate program we've been running for over a decade. I have a very traditional studio arts background, had no background in technology in school, but came out and got very interested in computing and had to learn to code and do all this stuff sort of the hard way. And I wanted to build a program that would empower artists to kind of really learn to use computation down at the level of the metal, not just using standard application software. So it was kind of a crazy idea early on, and I had to convince deans and people to let me do this. The undergraduate program flourished, and then over time, we just kept trying to push for grad programs. People were reaching out to us for one. So it was really exciting to be able to stand up this grad program now that teaches. It's a similar idea of teaching people to deal with computation at a very, very low level, similar to what you might do in computer science, but in the context that really appeals to creatives and sort of non-traditional engineers.
Well, teaching code to artists is really unique, though. And are you about one of the few programs that does this at all?
There are other programs around the world that do this. There used to be very few. There's more now. Part of the things that I've done over the last 20 years have been sort of evangelizing this approach, both in my books and going out and leading workshops and things like that. So it's also much easier now because a lot of the tools that were being developed that we wrote our books about are more mature now with much better pedagogy and references.
That's right. With such a great background that you have and the program that you're running now at a graduate level, who is your real target audience?
Yeah, I mean, we have a very eclectic mix of students. We take students that have no, coding background at all, been working as creatives professionally or fine artists or, something in the creative field. And then we have people that are coming out of engineering that want more creative context and more of a holistic approach to technology. And then you can fill in everything in between. So it's a really wide range of students, and they tend to go off and do really different things because of that range of background.
Well, actually, that's kind of interesting because somebody with no coding background, do they take a long time to catch up, though, or you figured out the pedagogy of how to teach that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of my background in terms of pedagogy and research early on was in coming up with novel ways to teach people to code. In fact, at one point, the computer science community, the traditional CS pedagogy community, reached out, and I worked with some computer science faculty to bring some of these approaches even into the traditional CS classroom.
Wow, that's really unique on your end. And whether it's teaching the people with no coding background or teaching the engineers to be a little bit more creative, I mean that could be quite a challenge there for some people, though. So, but anyway, so if the people take your program, what skills are the participants really taking out of it or gaining from your program, though, Ira?
Yeah, I mean, I think of it, we use this term in technology of like a full stack. You think of like a website, people using the website all the ways down to the servers and everything in between. I think of this as sort of a full stack entrepreneurial, creative technology background now. I mean, we're really fortunate in the sense that society has sort of caught up to this program, where what we're doing now is not so fringe, but it's almost at the point of becoming mainstream. We're trying to develop literacy and sort of empowerment in this technology. So instead of feeling like you're constantly chasing. We're really trying to produce thought leaders that can kind of separate sort of the shiny metal stuff from where the fundamental principles are. So obviously we've moved into a lot of AI recently as well, just to kind of stay up to date.
And has AI assisted in, both maybe on the coding side and even on the creative side, though?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the fundamental technology of our era. I mean, everything I feel like I've done over the last 30 years has just built up to what's happened with AI in the last 3 years.
So actually, Ira, you are ahead of your time, though, right?
That's for people like you to figure out.
Anyway, so here's a kind of a last question that I have for you, though. If there was one thing that you'd like the audience to take away from what you've just shared, what would that be, though?
Is to look at all this fast changing things that are happening now, this kind of everyday, these breaking articles with AI and things like that, and to sort of to not fear it, but to realize that there's a major change happening and there's an opportunity with programs like ours to sort of to take a position of leadership still. We're really early. It sometimes feels like there's all this stuff that's happened, but we're really early in the game. The worst AI that we're going to ever experience is happening right now. It's just going to get better. And, I'm hoping our program empowers our students to lead in this area, to help organizations, to help, individuals, to really leverage this to, a richer, more meaningful existence.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to, leverage and be a thought leader in creative computation, then I would suggest you really consider the program here run by Ira and his group in SMU, because that's the way you're going to up your game.